After talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Donald Trump is now turning his attention to the Middle East, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arriving in Washington for high-stakes discussions today. The meeting, scheduled at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, comes at a fragile moment with the Gaza ceasefire under severe strain and fears growing of fresh Israeli military action across the region. Now, this will be Netanyahu's fifth visit to meet President Trump in the United States this year, underlining the urgency of the agenda. And on the to-do list, Gaza is at the very top. This brokered ceasefire by Washington in October halted a devastating two-year war, but its future still remains uncertain. Phase 1 of Trump's 20-point plan is largely complete. Israeli forces have redeployed, and Hamas has released all living hostages except for one deceased. Yet the much tougher second phase has barely moved. Both Israel and Hamas accuse each other of violating the truce, and now Trump is expected to push Netanyahu to show some flexibility. Amid the second phase, the aim is to end Hamas rule and set up a transitional administration run by non-aligned Palestinian technocrats, meaning an international stabilization force made up of thousands of foreign troops is meant to oversee security and reconstruction. But disagreements, however, remain over who will actually govern, who will provide troops, and how Hamas will actually be disarmed.
I think simultaneous with the advance to the second stage, I think it's important to make sure that Hamas complies, not only with the ceasefire, but also with their commitment, which they undertook, to disarm and have Gaza demilitarized. That's not something that is not part of something that they committed to. They committed to it. And so I think we'll be having very important conversations at the end of the month on how to ensure that this second stage is achieved.
Now, privately, U.S. officials have voiced frustration with reports suggesting Washington believes it is Netanyahu that's actually slowing the process. Analysts say the gap between the United States' expectations and Israel's position is wide, and Trump may need to use personal leverage to move talks forward. Now, beyond Gaza, regional security also looms large. Israel has in fact warned it could resume military action against Hezbollah in Lebanon, arguing that Iran-backed group is rebuilding its strength despite a ceasefire agreed to late in 2024.
Israel will continue to defend itself, and Hezbollah is required to disarm, regardless of conversations that take place. And the state of Israel will continue to insist on the full enforcement of the ceasefire in Lebanon to ensure that this terror group is completely cut off. They're not rearming, that there's no threat to the state of Israel, its citizens, and our security forces as well.
Now, Netanyahu is also expected to raise the Iran issue, accusing Tehran of accelerating ballistic missile production and attempting to repair damage to its nuclear program following strikes by both Israel and the U.S. earlier this year. Iran's reaction ahead of the meeting has been one of defiance. President Pezeshkian said Iran is in full-scale war with the United States, Israel, and Europe.
We are in a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. They don't want our country to remain stable. If the enemy chooses confrontation, they will naturally face a more decisive response.
Domestically, Israel is looking at elections within 10 months, and polls suggest that the Netanyahu coalition could struggle to retain power. A strong public bond with Trump could help him shore up support at home, making open disagreements between the two leaders unlikely. As Netanyahu looks to sit down with Trump, the questions are stark. Can Gaza's ceasefire survive its most difficult phase? Can regional tensions be contained? Or is the Middle East edging towards another dangerous escalation? The answers may begin to emerge from Mar-a-Lago, or they may only deepen the uncertainty ahead.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
$36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion kakarjung.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Fiskali radikali.
Japanese,
$1
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, Click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.